A few years back, it was probably late November, early December, kind of a cold, crisp Sunday afternoon, but but sunny, no rain or snow. I decided to take a walk at Oak Openings Metro Park, one of my favorite places. Well, for whatever reason, I was a little slow in getting out there, so it was already late afternoon. And I decided which trail I wanted to take, and it was one of those that goes pretty far out and comes back, but it's about an hour and 10-minute walk. So I started on the walk and just enjoyed myself, and I got to the far point where I was really still at least a half hour away from back when I realized I had probably started too late in the afternoon because those are short days of the year and night was descending. In fact, dusk came upon me very quickly. And when you're in the trees, it just seemed like it was falling on you. Suddenly it's dark. I could still see the trail, but the undergrowth under the big trees was pretty dark. And I knew it was dusk when an owl flew out from one of the branches of a tree right over past me on the trail. I kept on walking, and again, it was getting darker and darker. I'm not afraid to be in the woods in the dark, but you hear a lot of sounds, and you don't know what they are. And I heard some commotion over here. Sound like a great big animal. But I've learned it could have been a squirrel because on dry leaves, they suddenly sound really loud. And I kept on walking, and it kept on getting darker, and I had two thoughts in my mind. One is I wanted to be careful. I did not want to step on a rock or a root and twist an ankle. The other one, though, is I wanted to get back because all these parks have the sign that reads the same way. Basically, it says, park closes at dusk, and I did not want to break their regulation, their rule. So I kept on going, and as the trail went, suddenly I came to a gully, a ditch. And I thought I did something wrong. Then it occurred to me there used to be a bridge there. And more recently, they had changed the trail to go around. So I had to backtrack, and I did find the trail again, and then I made my way around. And I kept on going, and I knew by that point I had to be getting pretty close to the end, but it was getting darker and darker. And then somewhere through the trees, I saw a little glimpse of light, very small, but I realized it was the light from the poles outside the visitor center, which was next to the parking lot. That gave me a lot of encouragement. I still had to walk carefully. And people have asked me, well, why didn't you just use your flashlight on your phone? Guess what? I didn't have a smartphone in those days. The flip phone didn't help at all. So finally, I saw a couple more lights, and I knew I was home, and I was home free. And then here's the amazing thing. When I got back to the parking lot, I discovered it wasn't totally night yet. When you're inside all those heavy trees, for some reason, it just encapsulates the darkness. And I felt lost in the dark. As I tell the story, there's 2 points to make. One is darkness sometimes descends upon us very rapidly, unexpectedly, and we can easily be lost and afraid that we're going to lose our way. The other point, though, is the light. Seeing the light was a form of rescue. It was a sign of hope. And here's the wonderful paradox. You can't appreciate light until you have darkness. For many people, we've experienced a lot of darkness this year. And for many, it has just sort of descended suddenly. Like, where did this come from? How do you deal with this kind of dark? But there's also a light, and the light is why we're here today. In the first reading from the prophet Isaiah, the prophet chapter 9 says, "The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Upon those who dwelt in the land of gloom, a light has shone." And then he goes on to say, the reason there's light is because For unto us a child is born, a son is given to us. And we realize Jesus is the Lord of light in a world of darkness. Now, when I talk about darkness, we don't quite appreciate light because we rarely have real darkness in our modern day world. We have floodlights, we have parking lot lights, we have security lamps, we have headlights, we have lights from our houses that go out onto the lawn. Of course, this time of the year, there's all kinds of lawn decorations with bright Christmas lights. There are billboard lights, and the list could go on and on. But when the Bible was written, when they talked about darkness, they meant darkness. Consequently, the symbol of light was even more powerful. Light meant direction. Light meant promise. Light meant hope. And most of all, light means goodness. And goodness is always stronger than the darkness. For many of us, the darkness of this year has been not only the pandemic, but I have found people dwelling in the darkness of loneliness or isolation or insecurity. People feeling the darkness of fear or darkness of animosity and people being turned against each other. There's a lot of darkness. We need the Lord of light. And that is what we celebrate because we believe. Now, it's not going to take away all the problems, but it's going to give us a reason to keep on going, to stay on the trail and not get lost. And the trail is our way of faith. As children of the light, however, we also become bearers of the light because we become the tokens, the symbols, the vessels of light for other people because other people need us and we can give them hope as well. The Lord is light among us. We want to live in that light.